228, Androgyne 3 by Magdalena Abakanowicz. She is a Polish artist who in World War II experienced the invasion of Poland by Germany with 1.5 million soldiers, 2,000 planes dropping bombs and strafing people on the ground, and 2,500 tanks. When the soldiers arrived just outside of Warsaw, which is where her family had some property, soldiers invaded her home and shot her mother's arm off. So that was the start of a horrible experience in Europe under war and then totalitarianism. The Germany invaded from the west. You can see their gray invasion lines. At the same time, the USSR under Stalin invaded from the east. When the war started turning and Germany started losing, then the Soviet Union kept pushing through Poland. And ultimately, the Soviet Union, who be in these red arrows, made it into Berlin, into Germany for Hitler's surrender, or Germany's surrender. And so by the end of World War II, Warsaw's buildings, 80% of them had been destroyed. I look at this child here with this bent body, and I think it's an extremely fitting photograph for what Abakanowicz created. So if you keep him in mind, I think that is suitable for this art piece. This is the Soviet army invading or moving into Poland, following the Germans out. The situation, though, at the end of World War II didn't change positively for Poland because, as you can see here, the Soviet Union kept control of Poland. They kept Poland as a satellite, just like a satellite up in the sky. They kept control of it. It was an extension of the Soviet Union. So in, I might have that date wrong, 1956, the Polish people tried to revolt against the Soviet Union, and the Soviet Union brought in tanks to keep the Polish people down. So the Soviet Union, was communist, and Abakanowicz's family had land outside of Warsaw that they had to give up. In her words, we as a family lost our identity under communism because anyone with wealth had to give that up. So her art, she used, in terms of form here, she used no tools. Her hands were what she used to shape the figures. Her molds made out of burlap and resin, which is like a glue, were molded by hand. And the wrinkles she created by hand here, and then the backbone is implied in this work. She visited laboratories and studied the dissection of the human body in order to understand the human form. And also in terms of form, although this is the image in our set, we must keep in mind that this piece of art, the sculpture, was intended to be viewed in the round. So it's the front of the piece that also matters. And on the front of this piece, you can see there is space. There is no solid form, but that has serious meaning. So let's look at that. With the front form being absent, or the space in, not showing, reflecting the front of the human body, we don't know the sex. That's why this is titled androgyny. Androgyny means to de-emphasize sexual characteristics. And so here, gender is a non-issue. The focus is on being a human being. This is another example of her work in this format. This is titled Backs, though, and it's displayed in Hiroshima, Japan. I think this might be a permanent installation that we can see if we ever go visit Japan. Further information about content, because we have fragmentary people, right? They're not whole. This illustrates the dehumanization that she experienced in the 1900s in Poland. In her words, crowds, injustice, and aggression have left humanity devoid of hope and clothed only in an air of desolation. So, pretty significant meaning there. This particular androgyne, the third, is not sitting on the ground. So, it's thought that maybe these structures represent human legs. Here again is Bax, and this installation is in Canada. So, the function, the bodies are shells of humans, and they are meant to convey the suffering and the brutality of war and the totalitarian society that she experienced under the USSR. Here she is in 1995 in a piece of art titled Crowds. And her words are, maybe the experience of the crowd, which waits passively in line, but is ready to trample, destroy, or adorn on command, like a headless creature, has become the focus of my research. And hopefully you recognize the significance or the meaning of this photo in relationship to her art, Crowds. Okay, Androgyne 3 and Magdalena Abakunovich.